Next, on Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly, Miami Shark star Shane OLeary, New York Exile star Misha Green-Yotts of the WER, John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News and Ray's Rugby, and the best damn recap in rugby. Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
Let's get it started with rugby's best recap. In North Carolina, it was deja vu all over again as the Anthem played another team well enough to lose. This time, it was the Sizzling Free Jacks, who are well seasoned in down and dirty battles. The Anthem scored first, but the reigning champs counterpunched in a timely fashion and wore down the improving Eagles development squad, who are still searching for their first ever win. Final score 26-6 New England. In the land of tort reforms and cherry blossoms, DC and Miami went at it in an important Eastern Conference clash. After allowing the first try, the Sharks rode the waves of last week's victory over Houston to a huge halftime lead. But as this week's guest Shane OLeary will tell you, DC doesn't quit. And they didn't. Roaring back behind a roaring crowd, the OGs came up just short, courtesy of OLeary's crucial penalty goal. Final score, Miami 37, DC 35. In Tukwila, Washington at Starfire Stadium, it was the Canine Cup with the Sea Wolves and the Chicago Hounds. And both teams gnarled their way through what was a dogfight. Just 3 tries were scored in the first 45 minutes, and Seattle looked to be in control when Chicago's fly half Tim Sweel got a red card. Yet despite being down to 13 players at one point, the Hounds still had a shot to win at death. Seattle holds on in a season-changing win, 28-22. In Space City and Wild Wind, the Shades of Yellow Bowl saw Houston take on NOLA in a huge test for both sides. In a physical first half, NOLA grabbed the lead behind an otherworldly try worked deliciously with Teofilo, a.k.a. Ed Fido, and Ruben De Haas that stunned the crowd. But the Cats found their claws, and a picked-off pass for a great try by number 8 Sam Tuifua, a grown-ass man candidate on this week's The Rugby Odds, spurred the Texans on, and they held on in the waning moments as NOLA lost the ball and the match. 17-15 Houston. In sunny Southern California, the Utah Warriors continued to make us pundits and our predictions look half-baked. The Mountain People and San Diego Legion went toe-to-toe in the first half with Joey Mano setting the tone just 6 minutes in with a try after Charlie Hewitt's yellow card. But in the second half, Utah conquered the ghost of road games blown, holding the host to just 3 points in the second half, while Liam Coltman and Zion Going were going to the try zone. What's with all this going? Utah is now primed to take over first place with their 31-18 win. Whew! Wow, we could use a break. How about a coffee break with Rugby Mornings? John Fitzpatrick calling in from Washington, D.C. John, welcome back to MLR Weekly. How are you, and what do you have for us?
Riders on the Storm.
All right, it's The Doors. It's a great rock band, a great album. What's the reference?
Well, Matt, obviously we're entering Storm Week here, a very condensed schedule where teams are playing 2-3 games in 10 days. But Matt, my question is, we've got injuries starting to mount up for a number of teams here. Is there a particular team that you're concerned about?
Well, they'll all go through the process as far as my research tells me, and I've got to do more on it. But it looks like every team is going to play like 3 matches in 10 days over the course of this season with Tuesday and Wednesday night matches. LA, in this first round of it, has to play Tuesday night in New England and then fly home to play San Diego on the weekend in a very key matchup in the Western Conference. So LA's up against it, but other teams are going to be up against it as well.
Well, Matt, maybe this is an opportunity for some teams to stop a slide. Look at the San Diego Legion, right? 4 straight now after winning 5 straight. Matt, I mean, what's it going to take here for San Diego to get off the hump and win again?
They're facing LA coming off of that trip back from New England on a Tuesday night match, so that's going to help them certainly. And, I think desperation will help them. And at the same time, LA's is equally desperate in that Western Conference to keep pace. So it'll be a great match to watch. Next.
Matt, no way these storm weeks are happening again next year, right? Like, we got to get this fixed, right?
Well, why not just switch the league to a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night league? Make it a midweek league. How about that? How about them apples?
I've been coming on this show 2 or 3 years now, and you've said some horrendously stupid stuff before. This might single-handedly be the greatest, smartest thing you've ever said.
Thank you. Much appreciated. What else you got on it?
It'll never happen, but we'll move on. Hey, let's go up to Seattle real quickly. Hey, some exciting developments, right? Of course, we got to talk about Marshawn Lynch and Marcus Peters, 2 former NFL greats who've joined the leadership group there in the Seattle Seawolves. Matt, no way Marshawn Lynch puts on the 12 jersey and goes out there, huh?
Well, he went to Cal. He's pals with Colin Hawley, one of the commentators, a former Eagle great, Cal Bear rugby program. So he's familiar with rugby. I'm not going to say no. Hopefully he'll come on the show and tell us what his mindset is. Anything else, John?
Yeah, Matt, hey, I got a quick question for you. Where's this MLR Championship final going to be held?
Well, it's just rumor. Rumors are flying at this point, but I'm hearing possibly a place like Providence, Rhode Island, where a new stadium is about to be unveiled. So that could be it. We'll see. I don't know. It's just rumor and conjecture at this point, but we can do this. And on that note, I want to thank Mr. John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning's Coffee Break calling in. We'll be right back with Shane OLeary of the Miami Sharks after this.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
How you doing? I'm Jim Hamilton. I'm at the Pig and Whistle. I'm at the famous Pig and Whistle. Look, I've got my rucksack on. I'm a well-known man around the world as one of the best rugby players to have ever played the game. No, I'm not. It's a lie. But we've got Paul O'Connell's montage on the wall. I've heard a lot about this place, and I'm here. Make sure, though, that you come here, but you also tune in to Rugby Wrap-Up.
And we're back with Shane OLeary of the Miami Sharks. Shane, welcome to MLR Weekly.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's good to be here.
I was down in D.C. I was a sideline reporter. I got to see this match up close between you guys and D.C. And I got to tell you, it was a tale of two halves. And you guys sprint out to that great lead, and then you let them back in. What happened?
Yeah, look, it was a tough game. DC are obviously a good team. We've been improving a lot recently as well, and coming on, we think we feel like we've been improving since the start of the year. So it's nice to start getting a couple of wins on the board now. I think the wind was obviously, you were there, the wind was very strong down the pitch. So we had the wind behind us in the first half. They had it with them in the second half. And while both teams scored into the wind, the game just naturally drifts to the other half of the pitch. Like, it's so much easier to exit with the wind. It's so difficult to exit into it. And you can see that some of the kicks when we were kicking out of our half go quite long. When we're kicking into the wind, they were quite short, and vice versa. It was the same for DC. So I think it was always going to be, the scoreboard was always going to be building with the team behind the wind, or with the wind behind them. And then we thankfully just managed to build it enough that we were able to hold on in the end. And the try at the end, it was kind of one of those where it brings it closer together, but it was never going to take them ahead. So I'm not saying we let them score. They definitely earned their try, but the game was kind of felt more like it was wrapped up when we got to the last couple of minutes, if you know what I mean.
It was wrapped up because you, with ice in your veins, hit that penalty goal to make it a two-score match, and there wouldn't be enough time for OLeary to get that. So
yeah, we built some good pressure, a lot of good phases, put them under the pump that way. The forwards and our backs connecting really, really well, which is something we've been focusing on, to put them under pressure. And we managed to get the advantage beforehand. And we won't talk about the missed drop goal that I went for, but thankfully it went over off the tee after. But it was nice to just push that out to a 2-score game, and kind of give us that bit of ease, I suppose. Not that we could take the foot off the accelerator going into the last few minutes. Obviously, DC score a lot of tries and they can score. They've racked up some really big scores, but it gives you that small bit more breathing room where if you do make an error, it's not necessarily fatal.
folks, he's been around the block in rugby as a talented player, and you played 10 as well, and you're from Ireland. You were born in Cork, but you were raised in Tipperary, as you said off camera, your formative years. But you qualified for Canada because your mom was from New Brunswick, Canada?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
All right. So you've had the experiences of playing in France. You played for Connacht with a great run. You won the Pro 12, right?
Yeah, in 2016.
Pro 12, right?
Yeah.
Which is now the URC. So you've been around, but normally you in your career you'd play 10, but you're slotting at 15 with Miami. If you had your druthers, would it be 15 or 10?
I'm happy to play wherever, as long as I'm on the park and helping the team. You know, obviously my preferred position is 10.
Oh, come on. Don't give me that answer.
Give me
man.
a chance. I'll get there. My preferred position is obviously 10, but I played 15 through the years. I've played in the centre a good bit as well when I was younger. So I've played across the back line. And like I said, preferred position is 10, but I would prefer to be on the pitch than not on the pitch. So I'm happy to play 15. And in the way we play, it's a similar enough role anyway. So it's fluid enough the way we can swap in and out there.
Well, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're playing so well at 15, and you've given the team like a sense of calm as an outside person looking in. I'm watching you on the pitch, and I'm like, you're calm. You know what you're doing. You have ice in your veins, and you're quarterbacking the team from the fullback position and hitting some dagger kicks. The team looks like it's getting together. It looks like it's gelling. You're getting healthy. What do you think's ahead?
Yeah, look, we're like I said just before, like we've been working a lot on connecting and getting connections on the field and off the field as well. As you can see in the last few games, it's starting to transfer into our performances now, which is fantastic. And I think we just want to keep building from where we are. Each week we're coming back. There's lots of really good stuff we're doing in games. There's also stuff that we can improve on. So each week we're trying to pick up a few more bits that we can improve on to, I suppose, just tighten up our own performance. And hopefully we can just keep building on the wins and go on a bit of a run. Obviously, I think we're looking this weekend to go for our third win in a row, so in succession, and it's the first time that the Miami Sharks will have ever done that if we manage to do it. So I know Anthem are obviously coming down to look for a big win, and they've been improving a lot, so by no means is it going to be anyway of an easy game, but there's also, I suppose, a bit of history on the line for us where we're looking to get our third win in succession as well for the first time ever. So it's going to be a massive game. Yeah,
and I tell you what, I wouldn't want to play the Sharks right now, but I wouldn't want to play the Anthem either. A couple of things that I wanted to ask you about that. At the end of the match, Emery and Kubeli were having words.
Just discussing the game, you know, a bit of friendly banter. Look, rugby's an emotional game, you know. I think, like, obviously guys are going out there to try and hit each other and tackle each other, and afterwards there's a few friendly words shot across, but there's nothing behind it. Everyone's all good at the end of the day. Emotion runs high. I think that's why everyone loves the sport so much. It's such an emotional game, you know. There's obviously a huge amount of skill in it, but with some of that physicality there comes emotion, and I think it's part of kind of who we are, you know, our identity down here. We're an emotional team. We try to play with that behind us and use it as one of our strengths. We're all very proud of where we come from and proud to be Miami Sharks, and I think that it's one of our strengths, you know. So I think, like, by no means does it ever get out of hand, you know. And at the end of the day, everyone is always friendly when it comes off the pitch.
It was, you know,
respectful way.
Rivalries are great for sports, right? Especially professional sports. And you guys are in the Eastern Conference together, and you're going to be going at it, right, for years to come, hopefully. And I loved it. It shows that you guys really care, right? And not that I would suspect that you didn't, but that emotion after the final whistle, and still going like. And this was after like handshakes too, which I thought was pretty cool. Anyway. Now I'm going to hit you with a couple of rapid fire questions before I let you go. And they're not correlated at all. It's just to see if you're on your game. Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
On your game. Let me see if you're paying attention to the rest of the league. Who leads the league in offloads with 13? He happens to be a Miami Shark.
Matthias Orlando.
Is it incorrect, sir? It is Marcus Young.
Oh, very good.
All right. Who leads in turnovers won?
Manuel Ardao.
Circle gets the square. Ding, ding, ding. You get the right to play for the Cadillac next time you're on the show. Do you, Sean McNulty, and Ronan Foley take Spanish classes together?
See.
Good answer. Good answer. Sexton or O'Gara?
O'Gara.
Prendergast or Crowley?
Crowley.
Really? Oh.
Big behind the Munster man. I'm a Munster man.
Yeah, your cork showing. If a plane crashed on the border of Scotland and Wales, where would they bury the survivors?
If a plane crashed on the border of Scotland and Wales?
Yeah.
In England?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bury it in England. There's no border between Wales and Scotland.
Good answer, but you don't bury survivors. So it was a two-part question.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
All right, Shane, much appreciated putting up with my nonsense. Best of luck going forward. You guys are looking good. I'm telling you. I'm telling people to watch out for the Sharks in the second half. So best of luck going forward.
Perfect. Thanks a million, Matt. Cheers. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers. And now for the Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network. In the 60th minute of a 6-point game, Zion Going capitalized on an at-ease or confused Legion defense that looked to be waiting for the whistle that never came. With that, Going was gone for a nail-in-the-coffin try for impressive Utah. And that is your Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network.
I wouldn't like to be at the bottom of that.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. Here's your TRO, the Rugby Odds MLR Picks of the Week via WWE Hall of Famer turned rugby advocate John Bradshaw Layfield, legendary USA Olympic Sevens coach Mike Friday, and King Gifte Belu, inventor of words.
Give me Houston at home. I think DC plays much better at home than they do on the road, and I think Houston is the same. So give me Houston at home.
NOLA is a team that's ready for that, and they'll wear down a West Coast, time zone jumping Seattle team that's just already struggling in of themselves.
And I think San Diego will be fresh. They've only got to come up the road. So San Diego to win in LA and cover the spread.
And hey, be sure to check out the Rugby Odds, the critically acclaimed sports entertainment show featuring big-name talent, exclusive highlights, insightful opinions, and irreverent, if not downright naughty, behavior. And we are back with Misha Green-Yotts of the New York Exiles in the WER Women's Elite Rugby Professional League that's now in its first season. Welcome to MLR Weekly, Misha.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Matt. Good to be here.
All right, Misha, I just want to get right to the nitty-gritty here. And people are going to think this is some kind of fluff interview, but I've got some hard-hitting journalism.
Oh, okay.
Some digging, and I know that you're a lock/flanker, yet your Instagram handle has the number 12. Please explain.
Well, that number is actually from basketball. That was my basketball number.
How dare you?
I know. But I did actually play 13 outside center when I first started playing. So, being a back has a little special part in my heart.
All right. I'm iffy on this. I'm a little shaky, but because we're basically family,
yes.
We are basically AncestryRugby.com. If you go to AncestryRugby.com, you went to SUNY Binghamton. I went to SUNY Buffalo. So we got SUNY and B. Then you went to Plattsburgh. We'll get to that in a second. But also you have ancestry, and so do I, in the New York Rugby Club.
I do. Lee Archer.
Lee Archer, one of the greatest human beings to ever walk the face of the earth and one of the coolest, who's now living in Italy because he's just so cool. But yet he's not here to see his niece play professional rugby, Lee? How do you feel about that, Misha?
Oh, well, he's sent me loads of messages, loads of nice messages. But yeah,
Not good enough, Lee. Not good enough.
I know. I gotta twist his arm to get him to catch a flight and get out here.
Yeah, put down the red wine for 30 seconds and come see your niece play professional rugby. Because I saw you in the first ever WER match with your New York Exiles against the Boston Banshees. I was at the stadium and I saw the first ever try scored in women's elite rugby. Can you tell me who scored that try?
You know, it was me. And you can hold that over his head forever now.
Ever. Oh man. So just quickly, because you're on your lunch break, right? You have a day job and you're calling me on your lunch break because that's the nature of the beast in professional rugby, male and female in the United States right now. Some of the MLR guys still have day jobs; they're part-timers. But you're a full-time star and a full-time worker, right?
Yes, and a full-time mom.
And a full-time mom, twice over.
Twice over, yep.
All right, so I want to get back to that because, in the formation of the league, each team was allowed to pick core players. And you were one of the core players, despite the fact that, hey, you took some time off from rugby to have a baby.
I did.
Right?
I did.
And then they still thought enough of you to make sure, okay, we got to lock her in.
Yes. Diego called me and he was like, I want you to be one of my foundational 5. And I was like, really? Thank goodness. Because I obviously have strong ties to the New York area and wasn't looking to relocate. So to be considered and then picked for that core 5, it was an honor. So thanks, Diego.
So you're juggling being a mom, you're juggling having a full-time job, and you're juggling being a professional rugby player. How do you do it?
A lot of help. Not a lot of sleep.
Not a lot of sleep.
Yeah, but my mom lives in the area and my dad comes up and visits, and my wife's parents, my in-laws, they come down and they help with the kids.
What about your Uncle Lee Archer of the New York Rugby Club?
Don't see him too much living in Italy and all. He's too cool with my aunt.
Lee Archer!
But they visit once a year, usually in the summers, so hopefully, maybe they'll pick up one of those June games. But lots of hands on deck. And my wife actually is joining the team as an on-call player. That's fresh news this week.
So who's going to watch the kids?
Those grandparents, they got to clock in for more hours now.
No kidding. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great story. And you also you went to Plattsburgh and you played 4 years of basketball.
I did.
Right? So you bring another sports athleticism with you.
Thank you.
What's your preferred position?
I'm really loving back row. I'd say 6. I've been playing 8 the last few weeks, but I really like working on the edge. I like 8-man picks. Those are fun. But I love that I get to be like physical and bring the ball into contact. But also I get to have some fun on the edge with the backs. So a best of both worlds.
A little fun on the edge with the backs. Why not?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of a flanker or a back row player. You can
get
the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time out, and I'm a fan of the Exiles, of course, because I'm from New York. But you just made me more of a fan.
Thank you so much for having me.
And hopefully, we'll guilt your uncle into coming over and watching.
Yes.
All right, Misha Green-Yotts of the New York Exiles. Thanks for coming on MLR Weekly.
Thank you, Matt.
And we're back with Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News and Ray's Rugby. Bryan, welcome. I see that you're all decked out in your new kit from OLeary.
That's right. Kudos to Mr. Dunleavy and Sheehy for hooking me up.
We got some picks. We're going right to the weekend games. First one up, LA, who's got 75 games in 3 days in the next couple of weeks, are hosting San Diego, but San Diego favored by 3.
This is the first time we've seen these kind of Storm Week games in MLR. So it's really kind of hard to gauge what teams, how they're going to pick teams, how they're going to manage guys on the field, and how they're going to react once we get through this next couple of weeks. So this will be interesting, but I think obviously you got to give the advantage to San Diego for not having to play that midweek game. So I'll take San Diego to win it.
The next one up, Houston hosting DC. Houston favored by 4 points.
DC kind of depends who they're going to get back. I mean, the news about Jason Robertson is terrible. Of all the people to lose, that's the one that really, they couldn't really afford to. I think they should give Graydon Bowd a familiar face, little call from up north. Hopefully they can get him in to help alleviate that situation. But I still got to go with Houston in this one. I just think that they're a little bit tougher and a little bit healthier.
How dare you?
It'll be a close one.
NOLA at home, -4 versus Seattle.
Hard, another tough one. See, Seattle's playing, 3 games in, a short period of time. So I think that goes against them, even though, NOLA certainly showed some holes in their game against Houston. But, it was a close game. I got to give them some credit for that. They had a couple brilliant one that was called back. But they are playing some exciting rugby. So maybe I'll give NOLA the nod in this one over Seattle. I think they're just going to be a little bit tired and beaten up from all the games this week. So I'll take NOLA by 5.
All right, and then Miami, -13 versus your Anthem.
Yeah, Anthem, they definitely took the B lineup route in the midweek game, so I think they'll have most of their starters will be reasonably rested enough for this one. But they just got to put in a more convincing effort for me. So, do I give Miami 13? Miami has a tendency to fall off in that second half still. So, I'll take Anthem to beat the spread. I think Miami wins this one, but I'll take Anthem to beat the spread. I'll give them a little bit of credit, although man Shane OLeary is really ripping it up for Miami, I have to say right now. So
right, you just passed him in the virtual green room. Yeah. All right. Well, he also has talked about how the team is getting healthy again, too. So they could be a formidable team in the second half of this season. All right. Well, on that note, Brian, a quick final note.
This is going to be an arduous few weeks for MLR fans. It's just going to be one game after the next. It'll be hard to keep track of it all, but this is going to separate the contenders from the rest, certainly as we head into the business end of the season. So we'll see how this goes.
There could never be too much rugby. And on that note, I want to thank Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News, Mr. John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning. Thanks to Shane OLeary of the Miami Sharks and Misha Green-Yotts of the New York Exiles, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out the critically acclaimed The Rugby Odds. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, sign up for our weekly newsletter, please tell your friends about us, and if you can, join our American Red Cross blood donor team.